I've heard you talk about parents' rights to raise their kids how they want. In fact, I just double checked. You voted no on making it illegal for kids to be married to adults at the age of 12 if their parents consented to it. You said actually that should be the law because it's the parents' right and the kids' right to decide what's best for them to be raped by an adult. Okay?
Do you know any kids who have been
With
married
marriage.
at age 12?
That was the law.
do you know any
You voted
kids-
not to change it.
Do you know any kids who have been married at age 12?
I don't need to.
I do. And guess what? They're still married.
Gentlemen.
This is Missouri Republican State Senator Mike Moon being called out by Democratic State Senator Pete Meredith for his vote against a bill that would ban adults from marrying children. When called out for this, Moon responds by doubling down, saying that he knows a 12-year-old who got married and it clearly worked out for them because they're still married. Well, I guess if he knows a dude, then child marriage must be okay. Remember, this is the same party that is constantly accusing Democrats of being groomers and pedophiles. The same party that talks about defending children and family values. I'm not sure you can claim to be the party that protects children when you want to literally marry them. But this isn't just a one-off occurrence. Kansas Republicans just passed a new anti-LGBT bill that could allow for forced genital inspections of children in order for them to play sports. The Democratic governor tried to veto the bill, but Republicans wanted to allow forced genital inspections of children so badly that they overrode the veto and enacted it into law. I did mention that these are the people claiming to be out there protecting kids, right? Meanwhile, in Arkansas, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders just signed a new law significantly loosening child labor protections. And this was after a bombshell report revealing that over 100 children were illegally working in meatpacking plants across the country. Their response to children being forced to work in grueling conditions was to make it easier for that to continue. So which should we file this one under? Family values or pro-life or protecting children? And going back to child marriage for a moment, Wyoming Republicans just earlier this year fought to kill a bill that would ban marrying children under the age of 16. And last year, Tennessee Republicans tried to get rid of all age limits on marriage entirely until public backlash forced them to back down. All of which is to say that Republicans have a demonstrated pattern in states across the country of fighting to make child marriage legal. And of course, who could forget Lauren Boebert's recent announcement that her 17-year-old son would be making her a 36-year-old grandma.
I'm a mom of 4 boys, and I've said many times, Jason and I, we are raising our 4 boys to be men before liberals teach them to be women. But I leaned over and I asked my husband if it was appropriate to announce this here today. So I'm going to tell you all for the first time in a public setting that not only am I a mom of 4 boys, but come April, I will be a Gigi to a brand new grandson. And Jason and I are so excited to welcome this new life into our family. Now, any of you who have young children who are giving life, there are some questions that pop up. There's some fear that arises. Now, my son, when I approached him and told him, Tyler, I'm going to be a 36-year-old grandmother, he said, well, didn't you make Granny a 36-year-old granny? I said, yes, I did. He said, well, then it's hereditary. Nice try, buddy.
Because nothing says Christian family values like pregnancy out of wedlock. And look, my point here certainly isn't to attack Lauren Boebert personally, but it's to point out the absurd hypocrisy of all this play acting by Republicans that they're somehow protecting children when example after example proves that these people view children as little more than vessels for reproduction, regardless of what age that happens at or even whether it was consensual. The Missouri Republican senator who exposed how creepy he is isn't the exception to this, he's the rule. And this isn't the only time recently that a Republican was completely embarrassed for their ridiculous position that no reasonable person in their right mind could defend. Here's what happened when an openly gay Republican embarrassed his own colleague for a proposed Don't Say Gay bill.
I'm just going to read you the language in your bill. No classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties relating to sexual orientation or gender identity shall occur. Lady, you mentioned George Washington. Who is Martha Washington?
His wife.
Under your bill, how could you mention that in a classroom?
So to me, that's not sexual orientation.
Really? So it's only really certain sexual orientations that you want prohibited from
Pat,
introduction in the
Do you
classroom.
have language to make that better, to make it where you're not talking?
Lady, I didn't introduce your bill,
Okay.
and I didn't write it. You wrote it, and so I'm asking what it means. Which sexual orientations do you believe should be prohibited from Missouri classrooms?
We all have a moral compass. And my moral compass is compared with the Bible.
Lady, I believe
I
during your
believe-
testimony, you said that you didn't want teachers' personal beliefs entering the classroom, but it seemed a lot like your personal belief you would like to enter all Missouri classrooms.
You can believe something without putting that onto somebody by the way you behave. And you can have beliefs and morals and values that guide you through life.
I don't dispute that, but I'm asking about the language of your bill and how it would permit the mention of the historical figure Martha Washington. Could you explain that to me?
So why is she famous? Is she famous because she's married to George Washington?
It seems like that would be a relevant fact in her biography, yes. Could it be mentioned under the plain reading language of your bill? Is that a no?
I don't know, sir.
Okay.
Even this Republican legislator could recognize how far off the deep end his own party has gone. The bill in question here calls for banning instruction in classrooms related to sexual orientation or gender identity. And so when this gay Republican asked about Martha Washington's claim to fame that she was married to George Washington, guess what? That's related to sexual orientation. If you're straight, that is still an orientation. Let's put it a different way. If we were to ask who Chasten Buttigieg is, do you think that would be permissible under this Republican bill? Or do you think that Republicans would object to that being mentioned in the classroom? It would be banned. Why? Because the fact that he's married to Pete is a testament to his sexual orientation. But the fact that this Republican doesn't view that as an issue when it's a straight couple like George and Martha Washington, but would very clearly view it as an issue when it's a gay couple, really does give the whole ballgame away here. She's not against the acknowledgement of sexual orientation, she's against the acknowledgement of any sexual orientation that doesn't comport with hers. And so all of this is just part of a long string of absurd Republican bills being passed in states where they have full control of government. In Florida, for example, Ron DeSantis just signed a near-total abortion ban in the middle of the night. The new law includes jail time for doctors, bans abortion after just 6 weeks, and has no exceptions for rape and incest after 15 weeks. The bill also requires rape and incest victims to show their documents to prove that they got raped. If they can't provide that, they'll be forced to give birth to their rapist baby, because freedom or something. So while Democrats are passing bills that cap the cost of prescription drugs, provide free lunch for school children who need them, and rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, Republicans are focused on regulating uteruses, banning history, rolling back LGBT rights, and making it easier to literally marry off children. The contrast truly couldn't be more obvious. Before you go, a quick announcement. I've started a Spanish YouTube channel. Democrats desperately need to be able to appeal to Spanish-speaking audiences, so this is me doing my part. To help that channel get going in the algorithm so that we can finally start spreading our progressive message and breaking the conservative stranglehold on Spanish-speaking media, please subscribe and watch a few videos. The link to that channel, called Brian Tyler Cohen Espanol, is right here on this screen. And of course, to see more of my content in English, make sure to subscribe to this channel as well. The link is also right here on this screen. Thanks so much for watching.